Assalamualaikum. A very good morning to everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you all in today's debate competition organized by Global IT and Language Center. This is Sumaya Mehtaj and I will be your host and moderator for today's exciting event. So before we start, I would like to convey my gratitude to the honorable guests for sitting here with the prestige to evaluate our contestants of today's debate competition. We have with us some reputed educators from different institutions in the judges panel that includes Zinat Rehena ma'am from Asset School, English version. And then we have with us MD Mahbub sir from Central Laboratory School and College. Then we have MD Kawser sir from Unique International School and College. And then we have Abdullah-Al-Jobair sir from Greenville Laboratory School and College. I'd also like to thank the Managing Director of Global IT and Language Center, MD Zaber Hossain sir, to give this opportunity for the students of Global in exploring their knowledge through this medium of competition. Finally, I'd like to congratulate all the contestants who could reach to this level as successful fighters of this debate competition. Welcome you all. Today, the topic of the debate is public school versus private school. Two esteemed debate teams will present their arguments on this topic. We will start with the battle between team the Resolute Rhetoricians and the team Vibrant. Both these teams are prepared today under the assistance of Mr. M.D. Shawon sir, the coach for all the teams here. After being able to defeat several challenging group of debate teams, we have the best to perform in front of us in the semi-final round. All the best to both the teams. Before we begin, let me briefly explain the rules. One contestant from each team will start with their introductory speech, and that will be the team leader of each team. They will have 2 minutes to complete this session. After that, each group will perform their opening speech, and each team will have 6 minutes to perform this session. In the second part, both teams will have a question and answer session where each team will have 7 minutes to answer the questions, including their arguments. Lastly, each team will have 4 minutes to conclude their speech after a 1-minute break. Contestants will be notified with 1 bell before their last minute in every part of their speech, just like this. Do you get me? Yes. All right. 2 bells will be at the end of their specified time, just like this. You get it? Okay. So note that the contestants must stop after several bells are given. So after your last 2 bells, you will be given just up to 30 seconds to complete your sentence. And after that, there will be several bells like this. So you have to stop there right there at the moment. Okay. So now, let's not spare any time more. We will start with the competition. Best of luck, everyone. I'd like to invite the team leader of both the teams to introduce their team members with the audience and honorable judges. First of all, I'd like to ask the team leader of the team, the Resolute Rhetoricians, please. Thank you.
Respected moderator, honorable judges, teachers, my board governors, and the attentive audience, Assalamualaikum. And a very warm and respectful good morning to you all. But before we begin, we would also like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our honorable Managing Director of Global IT and Language Center, MD Zaber sir, for giving us this valuable platform to present our arguments here. The topic before us is which school is best, public school or private school. And today, standing with confidence and clarity, we, the Resolute Rhetoricians, have decided to speak in the favor of of public school. You all might ask why public school? Because public schools are not just about classrooms with chalkboards and benches. They are the very foundation of equal opportunity in our society. They are the places where children from every corner, every background, and every walk of life come under one roof. Public schools are not built for profit, they are built for people. Public schools carry the dream of a nation, but not education for all and not education for a few. That is why we have choose this side. Now allow us to introduce, and I think it's my privilege to introduce the members of our team. I am Sumaya, the team leader of the Resolute Rhetoricians. Beside me is our co-team leader, Abdullah-Al-Jobair, whose supportive leadership sends our group's unity. We also have Mahfuzur, our executive member, who ensures discipline and coordination. Along with us, we're proud to have our talented members of Rajbongshi, Nusrat Aranakiba, Subinur Imi, the strong pillars of our team. Together we rise not just to argue, but to prove our with logic, passion, that public schools are not just the backbone of education; they are the backbone of progress, equality. You all might be thinking why we are the Resolute Rhetoricians. Our team is proudly known as the Resolute Rhetoricians. We selected because it reflects our true character. Resolute means firm, strong determination, showing that we never step back from any challenges. Rhetoricians are the masters of persuasive speech. That is exactly who we aim to be. Together, this symbolizes our energy, our strength, our ability to speak with power, to argue with clarity, and to represent our stand. We want our words not just to be heard, but to be remembered. And that is why we are the Resolute Rhetoricians. That is all from our introduction part. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to invite the team leader of Team Vibrant to introduce their whole team. Please.
Education. Education is the backbone of a nation. It's not just a fact. So we have to aware about the education institutions because our future generation as well as our future country is also depending on this essential pillar. Assalamualaikum to our respected judges, Honorable Moderator, the Managing Director of Globalitmedia Language Center, MD Zaber sir, our respected and honorable teacher, MD Sir, and the esteemed audience. A very good day to all of you. I'm Mahmudul, the proud leader of the team Vibrant. Today we are going to discuss a very compelling topic, which is better, private schools versus public schools. Here we are saying that private schools are the best. We stand here to present a very simple, powerful idea that private schools are not just institutions. They are the launchpad for the future leaders, and we firmly believe that private schools supports the best educational qualities. Now, allow me to introduce to dynamic team of 6. She is Shudibakar, the core-team leader of my team. She is Tasnima Faiza, the executive member of my team. She is Ahmed Bithi, is Mir Salihin, and she is Sara Saika. They are the general members of my team. Besides, Rahul and Islam Ohona are also the part of the team Vibrant. We are the team Vibrant. Here, the term vibrant means being full of energy, passion, and unstoppable determination. It's the spark that makes our life more exciting and lively. Besides, this word comes from the Latin word that means vibrare. That means to shake, move quietly, or quiver. Besides, then it into the Middle French as vibrant. And then in the early 18th century, English adopted the word, and from them, we are inspired by this word. We stand here to make this debate more powerful. Thank you.
Alright, thank you very much both the teams. Now we will start with the opening speech. I'd like to call Sumaya Janatul Ferdos, Abhay Rajbongshi and Subinur Imi to give their opening speech from the team, the Resolute Rhetoricians. Please start.
Thank you to our team director for giving me the opportunity to explain the first part of our topic, why public schools truly matters. Good morning, honorable judge, respected teachers, and our old opponent. As a first speaker, I will highlight the excellence and foundation of our topic. The problems and remarkable achievements that shape our nation. When we talk about the education, the very foundation of our nation, we cannot know the role of public schools. But let us first understand what is public schools. It's not just a simple classroom with benches and blackboards. A public school is an institution where education provided by the government free or at very low cost, so that every child, regardless of wealth, can learn and dream of a better life. In Bangladesh, almost 90% of rural students is had in public schools. This is not just a statistic, this is a lifeline. Without public schools, millions of children from farming families, their laborers, rickshaw pullers, and garment workers would have never the chance to hold a book and into a classroom. Public schools have made a lasting impact across the country. Example include Kumila Jela Schools, Bogora Jela Schools, Dhaka College School that established in 1835, who is still listed as one of the finest, producing generations, leaders and scholars. Then Rishab Jela Schools, founded in 1829, carried nearly 220 years of academic excellence and serving as a source of pride for Southern Bangladesh. This is the true spirit of equality. In public schools, children are not judged by the money. The farmer's sons, the shopkeeper's daughters, and the orphan child all sit into the same room, sharing the same book, and taught by the same teachers. Public schools don't measure the size of your wall. Public schools measure the size of your partitions. So when we look at the partition of education, it is clear that public schools not just a backbone of our public schools not just a simple school. They are the backbone of our national future. So now I would like to request our general member Albert to continue this explanation. Thank you everyone.
Thank you for both leader, and now I would like to continue the second part of our explanation. Respected judges and honorable teachers, I would like to continue our second part of our explanation. One of the greatest strengths of public schools is that they unite children from every stage, every background. A farmer child can sit on the same bench as a teacher's child, a farmer's child, a doctor's.
You're doing well. Carry on.
It's okay. Continue.
Very good.
A shopkeeper's son beside a doctor's daughter. And there is no discrimination, no division, only equal opportunities. The equality is the contribution of and discrimination, not division. There is only equal opportunities. History and religion both prove the power of public schools. Many of Bangladesh by this mind, scientists, professors, leaders, civil servants, eminent writers also studied from public schools. Even Dr. Mahmudul also studied from public schools. Similarly, national professors, Dr. Mahmud Ibrahim and eminent writer Ahmed also studied from public schools. And even today, public school students shine in public national exams. Year after year, remote from government schools, they achieved GPA 5 for scholarships and got admitted into top universities. Here there is no, and this is very important. So now I would like to request our general member to continue the last part of our explanation.
Thank you to overall for your insightful points. Carrying the discussion forward, I would like to highlight the reality, challenges, and the future of public schools. Honorable judges and my worthy opponents. Yes, we admit it clearly. Public schools face challenges. There are times when the classrooms are crowded or the resources are limited. But here's the remarkable truth. Despite these obstacles, public schools continue to produce the brightest minds and shape the backbone of Bangladesh. Think about it. Our doctors who saved lives, our engineers who build the bridges, our teachers who inspire the generations, and our civil servants who keep running the administration. The majority of them came from public schools. It doesn't prove that quality education is not sold with a high price tag in expensive institutions. Rather, it thrives in public schools across our country. Let's not forget the bigger picture that Bangladesh has a big dream. Vision 2041 to become a developed nation. But how can we reach that goal if we ignore the majority of our students? Statistics of the annual primary school census known as APSC show that more than 55.7% of primary level students study tuition-free in government schools. Every year, thousands of students of public schools secure the highest SSC grades. Even the top SSC score of 2025 was from public school. On the other hand, only 36% from private schools can reach the same level. Despite having fewer resources than private schools, public schools continue to prove that talent is not limited by money. It flourishes when opportunity is given. According to Bandbase, more than 65,000 primary level schools teach about 12 million students of public schools. And on the other hand, only private schools only teach about 8 million students of our country. Public schools educate the majorities. It's a foundation no policy should ignore. A strong Bangladesh cannot be built on privilege. It must be built on public education. So, to build a stronger, fairer, and more successful Bangladesh, one truth is clear. Public school is not just an option. It's a path to opportunity, equality, and national success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful start, I must say. Now I want to call Hossain from the Resolute, the Vibrant for their opening part, and I would like to ask the team member, executive member Taslim Hasan Faiza, Ahmed Bithi, and Samara Ahmed Saiga to continue with their opening speech.
Respected judges, honorable moderator, and the people who are sitting in front of me, Assalamu alaikum. So today our debate topic is public school versus private school, and here our team will talk on the motion of private school and we will prove that. Now I am going to talk about the quality of education in private school. Our second speaker will talk on safety and discipline, and lastly our third speaker will talk on co-curricular activities and academic performance. So a private school refers to an educational institution that is independently owned and funded. A study conducted by Khulna City Corporation found that the majority of parents prefer private school as they are disappointed with the quality of education in public school. In private schools, smaller class sizes where students allow teachers to provide individual attention and care. And also in private school, teachers are more proactive with the daily performance tests and the better facilities like labs, library for effective teaching. As private schools are operating under their own policies, monitor students through multiple examinations throughout the year. In contrast, public schools conduct only 3 exams annually and making it difficult to track students' progress. Health and hygiene are essential for everyone, and obviously private schools offer a far better environment than public school. Few days ago, a student shared his experience with a news report stating that in public school, teachers often neglect students and calling them to their own coaching center while training them to fear of failing. And he also mentioned that he previously attended a private school where teachers provide individual attention to each student. So that's why we are speaking in the favor of private school. So at last I would like to say if my opponent really think that a public school figure a future, then clearly they have never seen what success looks like. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, respected judges, honorable moderators, and dear audience, those who are sitting in front of me. Today we are on the side of private education. And I would like to briefly talk about the critical pillars of private education. These are discipline and safety issues. Let's start with discipline. Private schools often demonstrate a higher level of discipline compared to their public schools. In 2023 report from the National Center for Education Statistics showed that 76% of private schools have clearly strict and communicated discipline more than public schools. Private schools report 35% fewer classroom disruption due to behavioral issues than public schools. This means teachers can focus more on teaching and students can concentrate better. Now, when it comes to safety, private schools are generally perceived as secure than other public schools. When a student feels unsafe, they cannot learn properly. That's why safety must always come first. In 2022, Gallup survey found that private school students are 45% more likely to safe in their school than students in public schools. In private schools, physical fights, drugs, and weapons are significantly less than public schools. In private schools, usually have clear and consistent safety issues. This include regular safety drills, emergency preparedness, secure entry system, and ID checks for visitors, which is not occur in public schools. This kind of structure helps students know what is expected and creates a stable and predictable environment.
And think about the honest reality that in a private schools you can complete in a safe classroom, but in a public schools you can see the fight of the school ground. And it is private schools that ensure your safety. In a race of opportunities, private schools are running with wings, while public schools are still learning how to walk. That's all.
Assalamualaikum everyone. First, if we give a look to the part of co-curricular activities, then we can see that private schools are more conscious than public schools. Research comparing both public and private schools shows that private institutions provide more structured opportunities such as debate, sports, robotics, arts, and many more cultural programs. For example, one study found that 60% of private schools had over 3/4 of their students involved in co-curricular activities, while only 20% of public or government schools reach that level. Private schools have better funding, professional teachers, and proper facilities who can guide the students and give chances more to develop creativity, leadership, and confidence beyond academics, where the public schools cannot give the same facilities to the public school students as same as the private schools. Second, the academic performance. We all know international surveys like PISA and National Studies, Canada, India, and England are consistently shows that private school students score higher on average in reading, math, and science, and also do better performance in creative subjects like music and drama. But where the public schools only give attention to the textbooks only. But private schools have better classrooms, smaller class sizes, and modern teaching methods, such as multimedia learning and regular assessment, which help students to achieve stronger results and secure better future. By contrast, public schools often face overcrowding and limited resources, which is directly affects students' outcomes. While both schools have their own values, but private schools excel offering in both academic strength and wider co-curricular opportunities. They nurture not only mind but also personality, giving the students the confidence, creativity, and skills needed for future leadership. That is why private school is truly better than public schools. If academic alone defines success, then why do we remember leaders, innovators, and change makers, not class toppers? Thank you.
Thank you very much, both the teams, for your insightful knowledge. We will now carry on with the second part, which is the question answer part. I am very excited to enjoy this battle now. I first ask the team, the Resolute Rhetoricians, to carry on with your questions, which our team Vibrant will defeat gracefully, of course. Okay, so the 3 questions will be asked by Sumaya Akter Nusrat Ara Nakiba, and Jennifer Mehtaj one by one. So you may start your question part.
Thank you, our moderator. Respected moderator, honorable judges, and my birthday opponents. In Bangladesh, the first promise of education is the glamour. It is the rich from Harvard and Parsons to Hildreth and Sons. It is public school that opens its door to every children. No parent's wallet is interrogated. No 6-year-old boy is rejected for failing an admission test. No parent is forced to pay fees, transport, and their monthly groceries. Public schools give free textbooks, students for the poorest, and even service cycle shelters when riverside. These are not luxuries, these are lifetimes. In 2025, only the government, along as give millions of textbooks and launched our national school feeding program to reduce hunger and dropout rates. And now our opponents have to say private schools are better. Better for whom? For children of Gushan maybe? For children of Beranipara, but is it for the child of Kurigram of Shunamgos? Of course not. Private schools are nowhere to be seen, but actually, according to the babies and government, more than 80% of students study in public schools because why? Private schools do not go where the need is greater. They only go where the money flows. So that their so-called superiority is only for still is not a school that only starts when the money is guaranteed is not superiority. It is selective. It is not a beacon of learning. It is the business with classrooms attached. Now I would like to know from my opponents if private schools are really best, then why they are absent in the remotest villages where the education is most needed. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear opponent, for asking me the question. So, at first, I would like to represent a survey that in Bangladesh 2025, in its results, almost 134 institutions, there is no passing record. That means 0% passing record. And from their 134 institutions, almost 80% institutions was from public schools. So my other friends was just asking about the rural areas for the those students. So I'd like to describe that it is not necessarily that public school is best. It is necessary that in the rural areas, which are the private schools, they are the best because their percentage is much more better than public schools.
So are you? Our opponents, the way they had answered, they are just telling that rural students just need their education. There are only public schools who are supporting the rural students. We are not talking about the towns, small cities, Dhaka, Chottogram. We are talking about the whole Bangladesh. The most majority of the students in rural areas, the public schools are supporting. So I think my opponents
Whatever I presented, everything was from the overall Bangladesh. 134 institutions with 0% passing record. Including Moderator.
We are not talking about the passing records. We are asking that why the private schools are absent in the remotest villages because majority of Bangladesh
I think money is not bigger than a future of a child.
We are also not talking about the money. We are talking that why private schools are absent in the remotest villages. The rural students also have the right of education.
I think I am seeing an alien here because there is in the rural areas even there is also many private schools.
Do you have?
That's all from mine.
Respected panel, the cleanest students will prove the hardest work. They prove the best laundry. And this is the things that deliver. Likewise, the private school, those who are said they will prove the best teaching. They prove best selection. They filter the gate with choosing wealthier family. They are English spoken homes, already prepared children. That is not education. That is performance as traits of success. They also handpick students, then boost result. That is not teaching. That is part of selection, performance and maturity. Like public school do the opposite. They take everyone for a extra learner and the talented child and the boy who can support and who can study under only with 3 siblings and still they let them forward. This is not just teaching, this is nation building. And also consider this, given Ramukar of National Government High School in Chattogram scored an extraordinary 1,285 out of 30,000 in this SSC exam without private tutoring, without exclusivity, driving by school support targeted efforts and public teachers. And also, here is the irony, private school students depend on public teacher and coaching government coaching centers to pass exam. So, I ask to my opponent, if private schools are truly the best, then why our Constitution Article 70 grant public education for all? Instead granting private school for all, will our opponent dare to argue against the Constitution itself?
Would like to.
Thank you, my honorable opponents, for giving me the opportunity to answer the question. So, you guys say that the Constitution says that public education is granted to all. But I would like to ask, what is more important, public education or private education? The most important thing is education. And you mentioned a student who got a high mark in the examination. Exceptions can't be called as examples. We have to talk on the average level on the whole country. When we are talking on the national level, we need to know that result matters the most in the case of education. The result in SSC examination 2005 shows that among the schools who have 100% passing rate, about 65 to 70% schools were private, where the public were very low. And in the 0% passing rate, as my leader said, were most public. Then where is the quality of education? Are you saying that quantity matters more than quality?
Actually, I asked you about Constitution rules. You are already against it. Why? Do you want to change these rules?
If the rule was absolute in the ancient times, girls were forbidden to study. Was that a good rule, a correct rule? No. That's why you are standing here.
Third question. We're running out of time, please.
Honorable judges, in Bangladesh, more than if you talk about the SSC results, most of the students pass in SSC exams, the board exams. Most of the students do good results in SSC exams. Public schools are not just classrooms; they build national unity. In these classrooms, childhood richer pull up and childhood businessmen recite the same poem, sing the same national song, and study the same and participate in the same exam. This is how a nation truly learns to stand together. But let us not forget that public schools are not just classrooms. They are shelters during flood, polling centers during elections, and clinics during vaccination drives. They serve the nation even when lessons stop. Can private schools claim this? Of course not. Because their walls are built for profit, not for people. And here is where my opening must answer. If education fully shifts to private hands, who will protect the millions of poor children who cannot afford to pay the fees? Will you tell a farmer's daughter that her dreams are invalid because the father cannot pay? Will you tell a boy from a village that education and knowledge belongs only to the wealthy? Let us look at the reality. In Bangladesh, more than 60% of the students heavily depend on public education. If we weaken the system, we are abandoning the majority of our children. So, history shows us societies that divide education into elite and ordinary always end up with deeper inequality and unrest. Now, I would like to listen from my opponents. If public schools are the backbones of equality, unity, and national progress, do you truly want to break this backbone? If you do, then tell the nation clearly you are ready to sell education to the highest bidder, leaving millions of children behind. Honorable judges, that is not a vision, that is called division, and no nation was ever built on division.
So what's your question?
My question is, if public schools are the backbone of education, equality, unity, and national progress, do you truly want to break this backbone?
Alright, you have very limited time. Please carry on and finish first.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to represent a statement that is a true statement of Bangladesh education statistics that almost 87,41,480 students are studying in the private schools. That is almost 92.7393% in Bangladesh, and almost every students are studying in the private schools. On the other hand, our opponent friends are just saying that most of the students are studying in the public schools, and their facilities was just done. If we focus about the private school, there is every kind of facilities. Like you can upgrade your co-curricular activities and any kind of skills by studying in a private school. It is not about money, students, and other things. It is about quality and quality.
So we're not talking about facilities here. We told you that you truly want to break the backbone when in our country, it's
Why? How can you claim it is a backbone? Because the Bangladesh education statistics told that already. State that almost 87, that means almost 92.7393% students are studying in a private school. So how can you tell it is a...
Thank you very much. That was a very good fight, I must say. Now, it's time for the team vibrant for the rebuttal. So I would like to ask Mubin Hossain Rudro, Sudipta Karmakar, and Mir Mubashir Salehi to proceed on with their question part. Thank you. Please start.
Thank you for giving me the chance to ask the question. So, according to Bangladesh education statistics, almost 93.6% are in Bangladesh are private schools, where only 6.3% are public schools. Moreover, the students in Bangladesh, if you're talking about the students in Bangladesh, it is almost 92.93% are private students, while only 7.6% are public students. Now, I'd like to ask my opponent, when the percentages of both schools and students are above 90%, in case of quality, skills, discipline, and infrastructure, and many other things, how can you say public is the best?
I would like to answer this question. So as you said, in Bangladesh, more than 92% is private schools. So as the recent data, we got to see that in primary education level, there are 67,000 public schools where maybe there are 35% of the private schools in primary level. But in secondary level, when we talk about secondary level, the number of private schools are much higher than the public schools. That's why majority of the children has to study in private schools because they don't have an option. If there were more public schools, then they would definitely study in public schools. And also, in Bangladesh, 11 lakh children.
And your opponent, I would like to interrupt you. So, you are telling me that if there were more public schools, they would never study in private schools. So, why do you think they have built up private schools? Obviously, because of the better facilities, right? If there is no better facilities in public school, it is obvious the students will study in private schools.
Well, government builds the public schools, and private school anyone can build a private school. So that's why if government does more public schools in this country, of course, majority
Is it our fault? Is it the students' fault that the government isn't building public schools? Because the government can clearly see that private school is more advanced than the public schools.
Alright.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to ask a question. We all know education is an essential need. But I would like to state that in education, which matters the most is the performance, the results. According to 2025 SSC examination and the results of the previous years, that shows that private schools have a clear upper hand in the case of results. My respective opponents told that many doctors, engineers, and etc. job holders come from public, but they forgot to mention that they come from public universities. Can you say that they come from a public school? Can you ensure the percentage is higher than private school? No. In the top 100 schools in Bangladesh, 75% are private schools. That includes the missionary English version, etc., etc. And about 15% are cantonment schools. Cantonment school and colleges can't be considered as fully public because they are semi-public and semi-private because of their managing system. And only about 10% of the schools are purely public. So we can clearly see the ratio of private to public schools in the top 100% who represents the nation's education's backbone is 7 to 1. Are you ignoring the fact that this percentage is very high? Now I would like to ask my opponents, if you are saying that backbone is private school is not the backbone, then why is the result shows that private is ahead?
Alright, you cannot throw any question here. Alright, this is your question, right?
Okay, so I would like to answer for this question. As he said that the results of private schools are higher than public schools. You know what? Primary level actually builds the base of every student. And also, as I talked about it before, that in primary level there are 67,000 public schools. And also the private schools choose the selective students. They already take the best ones, and then they throw out the ones who cannot carry on with their studies, are weak in their studies.
My respectful opponent saying that private schools only take selected students, but except for the top selected schools, nobody takes any kind of examination in the selection. They grow a proper sapling from the roots. And my opponent said that in the primary education, the number of public schools are very high. But I would like to submit this paper, which has the statistic numbers of every school and schools. That includes the private and the public ones. So I would like to ask, in which sense you are saying that?
Everyone doesn't have everyone can't afford to study in a private school.
You're saying that not everyone can afford private schools, sorry. But only about 7% of the whole population people borrows money to read in private schools. You know why they borrow money to even read in the private school? Because of the quality. 73% of the people have the money to read in private schools, and about 34% doesn't have enough money, but they don't have a burden to afford that. So I would like.
So for the conclusion, I would like to ask that. So education is a basic human need, right? So just think that you are going to your school and you are a victim of bullying. There is a survey of Ahmed ALETL of 2023 that in the private schools there is only 36% students that reported for the bullying and crime. On the other hand, on the public schools, almost 62% students are reported for the bullying and crime evidences. If we see about international sources, then we can see that almost 1.7 million crime and bullying reports are submitted into the local police station. So I would like to ask my opponent friends that if I think about our own country, if I minus the percentages of public and private schools, then we can see that almost 26% students are just spoiling their life by studying in a public school. So will you bear the responsibilities?
Thanks for the question to our opponents. They say that the public schools where students faces bullying is how you can say the things that the public schools students don't face bullying. Rather, private school students faces more bullying because they have to face a high cost. Only the rich students study there, and if farmer daughters go there, everyone will laugh at her and say that you are not as the. You're not.
I don't know my opponent know these or not. There is a great discipline in the private schools that is not ever seen in the public schools.
Public school have to manage all the students together. They have discipline. The public school just manage the students of high class.
It is not my question. I ask you, will you bear the responsibilities or not?
Sure, why not? Every school has its discipline, so everyone have to face it. Every school has its discipline.
That means you are talking that if our future generation is facing these kind of problems, you will support that.
The public schools doesn't support these kind of things. There's not bullying in the primary section. How can you say this? There is the bullying.
All right, thank you very much. Well, that was an outstanding fight, and it's time for both the teams to get 1 minute to gather all your states and every notes, and you take a deep breath. Let's all take a deep breath and have a quiet moment for 1 minute. Okay, so it's time to change the game. So good luck again to both the teams. Let's call Sumaya Akter, the leader of the team, the Resolute Rhetoricians, to close the session with motion of the topic of today's debate, which is in favor of the public school. Thank you.
Thank you to our moderator. Honorable moderator, respected judges and my dear audience. After hearing both sides of the debate, one truth is very clear. The public schools are not better. They are the very backbone of our nation. Our game has shown three things clearly. Our first speaker has talked about assets and strong foundation show how public schools welcome every student. No matter they are poor and rich, they support every student equally. Our second speaker talked about equality and success stories. The public schools don't seek for money from the parents. They only take the students and want to make them best for the nation. And so success stories like they have told, our second speaker told about the leaders and Nobel Prize winners like Dr. Muhammad Yunus. They support everyone equally. The third speaker of ours, resilience and contribution. Public school always support the community because when the time of cyclone or natural climate is, it is public school who stands beside the people, children. It is not private school who supports them. And from our opponents, they have said a lot of things that private schools give quality and discipline. Their decorated classrooms, AC classrooms are built on the money from the parents. Not every, we are living in in Bangladesh, most of the parents are from belonging middle class. How can they pay the fees of their decoration work? They take fees and that's why they make this decorated classroom. But public school doesn't seek for money. They just give the education, teach how to live and how to environment. They say they have more beautiful environment. Beautiful environment public schools, but most of, if you notice, private schools are mostly buildings. There is no space or field, but private schools give us a big field, and this is really connected to our nature. They also say in private school there are more curricular activities, but if you focus, this is not true. Public schools give more curricular activities like annual functions and many cultural programs, and the private schools are just depend on the foreign cultures like English medium and others. They have not attached to our cultures. They are just detached from the foreign world. So, and also private school students, after obtaining higher studies, they just leave the country for comfort and may argue that English skills like private school. But Yasmin private school graduate own recognition in an IT competition. Public school. And also, the public school students face the real world with connected to everyone. They get the real life adding private schools adoption because experiencing English classes. But private school shows up with smaller classes, but public schools gives big classes. I think the education is a privilege, it is a right, not a privilege. So that is all from my speech.
Thank you very much. That was an amazing closing. I'd like to ask Mahmudul, the leader of the team Vibrant, to complete their closing session.
Thank you, Honorable Moderator, for giving me a chance to finish this debate with meaningful concept. As we are on the motion of private schools, so we described a lot of things from our own side, and our friends are on the motion of public schools, they also provide a lot of information about their own side. Now, just make a revision with the help of some meaningful surveys. We already represented the surveys that in Bangladesh, the total private schools are almost 90,727. That is almost 93.697%, and the public schools are almost only 1,329. That is almost 6.302%. And if we focus about the students of the public and private schools, then we can see that in the private schools, the total student is 87,41,480. That is, the percentage is 92.7393%. On the other hand, the public schools student survey was almost 6,64,305. That is only 7.062%. Information source, Bangladesh Education Ministry plus bandits. By implementing these kind of surveys, we represented from ourselves, and from the first, we represented about quality of education and infrastructure. I think environment is the most important thing for education. Just think that you are studying in your class, and in front of your class, there is having a WWE match, then you can't concentrate on the study properly. And it is a very common thing in a public school. Then we also represented about co-curricular activities, discipline, safety, and many other things. And here I am confident that no public school can beat private schools in this kind of situation, because public schools are just learning how to walk, and here the private schools are just flying in these kind of stages. On the contrary, if we focus about our opponent friends' speech, then we can definitely find some keywords like academics, poverty. They're just out of the topic. They represented some basic topics also. And I don't know they really know the proverb or not. They are really representing empty sound much, because they represent some other topic, basic topic, as well as they also represent some old surveys and wrong surveys too. Just like this. And by doing this kind of activities, I think they are just representing ourselves in business sound. Besides, in this case, there is a lot of information gaps, and I think I would recommend our online friends to study more and more to understand that private schools are the best. So, honorable moderator and respected judges, in the result of the harsh reality is all the glitters is not gold, and public schools are the best example for that. After reading the whole summarize the debate, we really have to understand that our friend's speech was just business, and the logic was just like, it is raining in this case, and if we accept the document, then I think there is a thunderstorm in this case tomorrow. Maybe that. And after representing this kind of accurate and huge information, and our opponent friends are thinking that they will support public schools again, then I think I'm seeing an alien in front of me, and I really have to invite NASA, SpaceX, even Elon Musk for make a research in Bangladesh. Now I am very able to establish my logic and theories here so that I can confidently say that private schools are the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic and a very good debate from both the sides. Congratulations to both the teams again. Now let's take a moment to begin with our second competition, and we will have a 15-minute break before that. Thank you very much all the contestants as well. We may close this session for now.